Shalom, my brothers and sisters. Shalom, shalom. Welcome to episode number 12 of The Inward Man. It is a reflection of messages that are stirring what's inside of me. For a moment in time, there are things that stir and pass through my mind, and that tends to stir on a daily basis. Sometimes it rests until such a time as this. My brothers and sisters, I consider you who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father, my family. This moment in time is about judgment, assignment, and placements. You know, my brothers and sisters, judgment basically is an act of rendering a verdict or rendering a decision, making a choice. There are some words that are harsh compared to others that can be soft. But whether we say make a decision, render a verdict, or judgment, they are similar in meaning and function, my brothers and sisters. Many of us believe that we are in the end times, but for whatever reason, we do a lot of talking about what we believe and obeying the Ten Commandments and the laws and statutes. We do a lot of talking about fellowship. We do a lot of talking about wickedness and the things that people shouldn't be doing. But how many of us have given thought that this is a season of judgment? This is a season where we must come to realize, and those who are drawn by the Most High will come to realize, that judgment will result in identifying assignments that have been specifically tasked to each of us, placing us in positions that are necessary for the building of a set-apart family, for the building of a unified, awakening nation. Allow me to read some passages I'd like to share that I believe I was compelled to present to you, my brothers and sisters. 1 Peter 4:17 through 19 reads, "Because it is time for judgment to begin from the house of the Almighty One. And if firstly from us, what is the end of those who do not obey the good news of the Almighty One? And if the righteous one is scarcely saved, where shall the wicked and the sinner appear? So then, those who suffer according to the desire of the Almighty One should commit their lives to a trustworthy Creator in doing good." I want to bring your attention, my brothers and sisters. Judgment begins at the house of the Almighty One. It begins with us. And many may not be aware, I've said this in times past, it begins with the leaders among Yasharal. Why? Because these are the most influential among an awakening nation. So judgment begins with the leaders. We will find ourselves, any of us who present a set-apart influence or some type of influence on another, we will be judged first, my brothers and sisters. And then it will move down to those who are most unlearned. But we are held accountable for our actions, each of us. Keep in mind that judgment is not just to tear you down. Or I should say that judgment is not to tear you down. That judgment is to bring discipline and refinement. That judgment is to awaken us to the choices and decisions that we make. Pray on these matters, my brothers and sisters. Assignment and placements. If there's going to be a final exodus before the physical return of the Mashiach, that means movement. Movement means travel, walking, driving, flying, moving on a boat. It means relocation. That means assignments, people with specific duties to bring things in place, placement of individuals. In other words, do you think you can be transitioned to the promised land if you're dead in the middle of the United States? Or if you are in the wrong place, if any of us are in the wrong place at the wrong time? Judgment, making a decision, making choices, assignment and placement, actions that are required upon making such decisions. What does that mean for us? Let me read John 7:24. It says, "Do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment." I see so many brothers that desire to teach or be outspoken, and they'll say, thinking that they're being humbled, "I'm not judging. I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm not judging. Don't judge. We can't judge." I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, we are not supposed to judge according to the appearance, but judge with righteous judgment, meaning as the Spirit of Yahusha, as the Spirit of the Most High sent in Yahusha's name works within us and revealed to us, then we render a decision. We render our choice. We render judgment, my brothers and sisters. So do not fall for the okie doke, so to speak. Do not be misled because the person say, I don't judge. They should judge. If they're a teacher, if they're a moray, if they're a leader, they should judge as led by the Spirit of the Most High. Not by appearance, but as the Most High, discerning what He is saying regarding the matter. That's for each of us. We should judge according to the Spirit of the Most High as He works within us. If we cannot discern His voice, if we cannot discern unequivocally that it is the Spirit of Yahushua working within us, then let us not judge. Let us keep our mouths shut until such a time as we are aware and clear. John 9, that was John 7:24. John 9:39 says, and Yahuah said, for judgment I have come into this world, that those not seeing might see, and those that seeing might become blind. You see, there are those who can see that become blind because they tried to abuse the scriptures. They tried to take advantage of people using scriptures to their own advantage to try to manipulate people. And then when they show that they are in for their own self-gain, when it shows that their actions are wicked, that is the fruit of this verse fulfilling. They thought they saw, but now they became blind. Yeah, they seen, they got a glimpse. But when they become blind, we see that they were using the scriptures for their own gain, that they were using their positions for their own gain. Oftentimes we hear people magnify the verse, do not judge, lest you be judged. This is Matthew 7:1-2. It say, for with what judgment you judge, you shall be judged, and with the same measure you use, it shall be measured to you. My brothers and sisters, have we not read that iron sharpening iron? Have we not read we ought to work one towards another, perfecting our walk and set apartness as the Spirit of Yahushua directs us and guides us? Sure, let us not be quick to judge. Let us be mindful that we will be judged as well. But let us also keep in mind that as we walk in the fullness of the Spirit, as we walk in obedience, there will be times of judging, my brothers and sisters. There will be time of placement. In these last days, we will begin to identify what is the assignment that has been directed to us. Where should we be? Let me read Luke 6:36-38. It reads, therefore be compassionate as your Father also is compassionate. And do not judge, and you shall not be judged at all. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned at all. Forgive, and you shall be forgiven. When it says, and do not judge, and you shall not be judged at all, don't forget about the verse prior to that. That was 37. It says, do not judge, and you shall be judged. It says 6:36, therefore be compassionate as your Father also is compassionate. So we don't want us just to be free-handedly just judging people by appearance, just looking and just making a decision right away. It says be compassionate. To be compassionate, we must identify what is necessary. It says, as your Father also is compassionate. Do not the Father in his compassion comfort us with love? Do not the Father also in his compassion discipline us? You see, so let us not allow someone to sling a verse that said don't judge at all. A person should say be careful and seek to discern the Most High, what he is saying regarding the matter. And if you cannot, be silent. Keep that in mind, my brothers and sisters. Many people will debate these words because they are stuck on the text versus discerning the life in this passage. In these words, the life in the scriptures. It says, give and it shall be given to you. A good measure pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall be put into your lap. For with the same measure with which you measure, it shall be measured back to you. In other words, my brothers and sisters, iron sharpening iron, not iron trying to destroy aluminum or plastic, iron sharpening iron. The same measure we give is coming back two people with like minds, like passion to worship and obey the Most High. This is what it's talking about, my brothers and sisters. Let me also read 1 Corinthians 2nd chapter, verses 14 through 16. It says, but the natural man does not receive the matters of the Spirit of the Almighty One, for they are foolishness to him, and he is unable to know them because they are spiritually discerned. But he who is spiritual discerns indeed all matters, but he himself is discerned by no one. For who has known the mind of Yahuah? Who shall instruct him? But we have the mind of Messiah. You see, my brothers and sisters, the natural mind, if we're using our mental, our cognitive factors as a means for judging, we will find ourselves mistaken. We will find ourselves rejecting things we should not be rejecting. We will find ourselves running away from things we should run to. You see, my brothers and sisters, if we're spiritual, if we're seeking to listen and discern what the Most High Father is saying to us, then we're able to see. It say, but he himself is discerned by no one. In other words, if we're walking in obedience, it would not be necessary for someone to tell us anything differently if we are indeed walking in obedience. Will there be times we will? Sure. It say he himself is discerned by no one in the flesh. And if you doubt what it's saying, look at the next verse. It say, who has the mind of Yahuah? Who shall instruct him? But we have the mind of Messiah. So we cannot instruct Yahuah, our Almighty Father. He instructs us. And it is through the mind of Messiah, Yahusha HaMashiach. My brothers and sisters, this is a season. This is a time of judgment. It's a time for making some tough decisions. It is a time to discover purpose. It is a time to discover what are the assignments that we will have as it relates to the rise of the 144,000 in great multitude. Do you think these things would happen instantaneously? Do you think 144,000 in a great multitude, as mentioned in Revelation 7, is going to be people becoming obedient instantaneously? I think not. It's time, my brothers and sisters. Yes, it's time to judge as the Spirit lead us. Let us not fear what man can do, but let us fear the Most High. And in that fear, let us seek to discern what he is saying regarding the one in the mirror, regarding our brothers, our sisters, our family, regarding one another. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, just remember, judgment begins at the house of the Almighty Father first. And I submit to you in these end times, it has begun, and we will see discipline and refinement like never before. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, continue to press forward. Continue to seek to discern and respond as the Spirit of the Most High Father Yahuah, sent in Yahusha's name, directs. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom.